Buddhang Namah Dhammang Namah Sanghang Namah.
Siddhartha Gautama, How a Bodhisattva became the Buddha. Part 1 from birth to Parivraja. 6. Childhood and education. 1. When Siddhartha was able to walk and speak, the elders of the Sakyas assembled and asked Sudana that the boy should be taken to the temple of the village goddess Adbeya. To Sudana agreed and asked Mahaprati to dress the boy. 3. While she was doing so, the child Siddhartha, with a most sweet voice, asked his aunt where he was being taken. On learning that he was being taken to the temple, he smiled, but he went conforming to the custom of the Sakyas. 4. At the age of 8, Siddhartha started his education. 5. Those very 8 Brahmins whom Sudana had invited to interpret Mahamaya's dream and who had predicted his future were his first teachers. 6. After they had taught him what they knew, Sudana sent for Subhutai of distinguished descent and of high lineage in the land of Udika, a philologist and grammarian, well read in the Vedas, Vedangas, and Upanishads, having poured out water of dedication from a golden vase. Sudana handed over the boy to his charge to be taught. He was his second teacher. 7. Under him Gautama mastered all the philosophic systems prevalent in his day. 8. Besides this, he had learned the science of concentration and meditation from one Bhardwaj, a disciple of Alarakalam, who had his ashram at Kapilavastu. 7. Early traits. 1. Whenever he went to his father's farm and found no work, he repaired to a quiet place and practiced meditation. 2. While everything for the cultivation of the mind was provided, his education in the military science befitting a Kshatriya was not neglected. 3. For Sudana was anxious not to make the mistake of having cultivated the mind of his son at the cost of his manliness. 4. Siddhartha was of kindly disposition. He did not like exploitation of man by man. 5. Once he went to his father's farm with some of his friends and saw the laborers plowing the land, raising buns, cutting trees, etc., dressed in scanty clothes under a hot burning sun. 6. He was greatly moved by the sight. 7. He said to his friends, "Can it be right that one man should exploit another? How can it be right that the laborer should toil and the master should live on the fruits of his labor?" 8. His friends did not know what to say, for they believed in the old philosophy of life that the worker was born to serve and that in serving his master he was only fulfilling his destiny. 9. The Sakyas used to celebrate a festival called Vapramangal. It was a rustic festival performed on the day of sowing. On this day, custom had made it obligatory on every Sakya to do plowing personally. 10. Siddhartha always observed the custom and did engage himself in plowing. 11. Though a man of learning, he did not despise manual labor. 12. He belonged to a warrior class and had been taught archery and the use of weapons, but he did not like causing unnecessary injury. 13. He refused to join hunting parties. His friends used to say, "Are you afraid of tigers?" He used to retort by saying, "I know you are not going to kill tigers. You are going to kill harmless animals such as deer and rabbits." 14. If not for hunting, come to witness how accurate is the aim of your friends, they said. Even such invitations Siddhartha refused, saying, "I do not like to see the killing of innocent animals." 15. Prajapati Gautami was deeply worried over this attitude of Siddhartha. 16. She used to argue with him, saying, "You have forgotten that you are a Kshatriya and fighting is your duty. The art of fighting can be learned. Only through hunting, for only by hunting can you learn how to aim accurately. Hunting is a training ground for the warrior class. 17. Siddhartha often used to ask Gautami, but mother, why should a Kshatriya fight? And Gautami used to reply, because it is his duty. 18. Siddhartha was never satisfied by her answer. He used to ask Gautami, tell me, how can it be the duty of man to kill man? Gautami argued, such an attitude is good for an ascetic, but Kshatriyas must fight. If they don't, who will protect the kingdom? 19. But mother, if all Kshatriyas loved one another, would they not be able to protect their kingdom without resort to killing? Gautami had to leave him to his own opinion. 20. He tried to induce his companions to join him in practicing meditation. He taught them the proper pose. He taught them to fix their mind on a subject. He advised them to select such thoughts as, may I be happy, may my relations be happy, may all living animals be happy. 21. But his friends did not take the matter seriously. They laughed at him. 22. On closing their eyes, they could not concentrate on their subject of meditation. Instead, some saw before their eyes deer for shooting or sweets for eating. 23. His father and his mother did not like his partiality for meditation. They thought it was so contrary to the life of a Kshatriya. 24. Siddhartha believed that meditation on right subjects led to development of the spirit of universal love. He justified himself by saying, when we think of living things, we begin with distinction and discrimination. We separate friends from enemies. We separate animals we rear from human beings. We love friends and domesticated animals, and we hate enemies and wild animals. 25. This dividing line we must overcome, and this we can do when we in our contemplation rise above the limitations of practical life. Such was his reasoning. 26. His childhood was marked by the presence of supreme sense of compassion. 27. Once he went to his father's farm. During recess he was resting under a tree enjoying the peace and beauty of nature. While so seated, a bird fell from the sky just in front of him. 28. The bird had been shot by an arrow which had pierced its body and was fluttering about in great agony. 29. Siddhartha rushed to the help of the bird. He removed the arrow, dressed its wound, and gave it water to drink. He picked up the bird, came to the place where he was seated, and wrapped up the dirt in this upper garment and held it next to his chest to give it warmth. 30. Siddhartha was wondering who could have shot this innocent bird. Before long there came his cousin Dhamma, armed with all the implements of shooting. He told Siddhartha that he had shot a bird flying in the sky. The bird was wounded, but it flew some distance and fell somewhere there, and asked him if he had seen it. 31. Siddhartha replied in the affirmative and showed him the bird, which had by that time completely recovered. 32. David demanded that the bird be handed over to him. This Siddhartha refused to do. A sharp argument ensued between the two. 33. David argued that he was the owner of the bird because by the rules of the game, he who kills a game becomes the owner of the game. 34. Siddhartha denied the validity of the rule. He argued that it is only he who protects that has the right to claim ownership. How can he who wants to kill be the owner? 35. Neither party would yield. The matter was referred to arbitration. The arbitrator upheld the point of view of Siddhartha Gautama. 36. David became his permanent enemy. But Gautama's spirit of compassion was so great that he preferred to save the life of an innocent bird to securing the goodwill of his cousin. 37. Such were the traits of character found in the early life of Siddhartha Gautama.
Dhamma
8. Marriage. 1. There was a Sakya by name Dandapani. Yeshodhara was his daughter. She was well known for her beauty and for her sila. 2. Yeshodhara had reached her 16th year and Dandapani was thinking about her marriage. 3. According to custom, Dandapani sent invitations to young men of all the neighboring countries for the swimwear of his daughter. 4. An invitation was also sent to Siddhartha Gautama. 5. Siddhartha Gautama had completed his 16th year. His parents also were equally anxious to get him married. 6. They asked him to go to the swimwear and offer his hand to Yeshodhara. He agreed to follow his parents' wishes. 7. From amongst the young men, Yeshodhara's choice fell on Siddhartha Gautama. 8. Dandapani was not very happy. He felt doubtful about the success of the marriage. 9. Siddhartha, he felt, was addicted to the company of saints and sages. He preferred loneliness. How could he be a successful householder? 10. Yeshodhara, who was determined to marry none but Siddhartha, asked her father whether to be in the company of saints and sages was a crime. She did not think it was. 11. Knowing her daughter's determination to marry no one but Siddhartha Gautama, the mother of Yeshodhara told Dandapani that he must consent. Dandapani did. 12. The rivals of Gautama were not only disappointed but felt that they were insulted. 13. They wanted that in fairness to them Yeshodhara should have applied some test for her selection, but she did not. 14. For the time being they kept quiet, believing that Dandapani would not allow Yeshodhara to choose Siddhartha Gautama so that their purpose would be served. 15. But when Dandapani failed, they made bold and demanded that a test of skill in archery be prescribed. Dandapani had to agree. 16. At first Siddhartha was not prepared for this, but Channa, his charioteer, pointed out to him what disgrace his refusal would bring upon his father, upon his family, and upon Yeshodhara. 17. Siddhartha Gautama was greatly impressed by this argument and agreed to take part in the contest. 18. The contest began. Each candidate showed his skill in turn. 19. Gautama's turn came last, but his was the highest marksmanship. 20. Thereafter the marriage took place. Both Sugodna and Dandapani were happy. So was Yeshodhara and Mahaprati. 21. After a long term of married life, Yeshodhara gave birth to a son. He was named Rahula. 9. Father's plans to save his son. 1. Why the king was happy to see his son married and thus enter the life of a householder, the prophecy of the sage Ata continued to haunt him. 2. To prevent the prophecy from coming true, he thought of getting him engrossed in the pleasures and carnal joys of life. 3. With this object in view, Sudana built 3 luxurious palaces for his son to live in, 1 for summer, 1 for the rainy season, and 1 for winter, furnished with all the requirements and excitements for a full, amorous life. 4. Each palace was surrounded by an extensive garden beautifully laid out with all kinds of trees and flowers. 5. In consultation with his family priest Udain, he thought of providing a harem for the prince with very beautiful inmates. 6. Sudana then told Udain to advise the girls how to go about the business of winning over the prince to the pleasures of life. 7. Having collected the inmates of the harem, Udain first advised them how they should win over the prince. 8. Addressing them he said, Ye are all skilled in all the graceful arts. Ye are proficient in understanding the language of amorous sentiments. Ye are possessors of beauty and gracefulness. Ye are total masters in your own styles. 9. With these graces of yours, ye are able to move even sages who have lost all their desires, and to ensnare even the gods who are charmed by heavenly nymphs. 10. By your skill in expressing the heart's feelings, by your coquetry, your grace, and your perfect beauty, ye are able to enrapture even women, how much more easily men. 11. Thus, skilled as ye are, each set in your own proper sphere, it should not be beyond your reach to captivate and capture the prince and hold him in your bondage. 12. Any timid action on your part would be fit for new brides whose eyes are closed through shame. 13. What did this hero be? Great by his exalted glory, yet great is the might of woman. Let this be your firm resolve. 14. In olden time a great seer, hard to be conquered even by gods, was spurned by a harlot, the beauty of Kashi, planting her feet upon him. 15. And the great seer Vimve, the plunge in profound penance, was carried captive for 10 years in the forest by the nymph Griki. 16. Many such seers as these have women brought to naught. How? Much more than a delicate prince in the first flower of his age? 17. This being so, boldly put forth your efforts that the posterity of the king's family may not be turned away from him. 18. Ordinary women captivate simple men, but they are truly women who subdue the nature of high and hard.
Buddham Namah Dhammam Namah Sangham Namah.
Then the failure of the women to win the prince. 1. Having heard these words of Udayan, the women strung to the heart rose even above themselves for the conquest of the prince. 2. But even with their brows, their glances, their coquetries, their smiles, their delicate movements, the girls of the harem did not feel sure of themselves. 3. But they soon regained their confidence through the command of the family priest and the gentle temperament of the prince, and to the power of intoxication and of love. 4. The women then set upon their task and made the prince wander in the woods like an elephant in the forests of Himavat, accompanied by a herd of females. 5. Attended by women, he shone in that pleasant grove as the sun surrounded by Apis in his royal garden. 6. There, some of them urged by passion, press him with their full, firm bosoms in gentle collisions. 7. Others violently embrace him after pretending to stumble, then leaning on him with their shoulders drooping down and with their gentle, creeper-like arms. 8. Others with their mouths smelling of spirituous liquor, their lower lips red like copper, whispered in his ear, "Let my secret be heard." 9. Others, all wet with unguents, as if giving him a command, clasped his hand eagerly and said, "Perform thy rites of adoration here." Then another, with her blue garments continually slipping down in pretended intoxication, stood conspicuous with her tongue visible like the night with its lightning lashing. 11 others, with their golden wands tinkling, wandered about here and there, showing him their bodies veiled within cloth. 12 others leaned, holding a mango bough in hand, displaying their bosoms like golden jars. 13 some, coming from a lotus bed, carrying lotuses and with eyes like lotuses, stood like the lotus goddess Padwa by the side of that lotus, face springs. 14 another sang a sweet song easily understood and with the proper gesticulations, rousing him, self-subdued though he was, by her glance, as saying, "Oh, how thou art deluded." 15 another, having armed herself with her bright face, with its brow drawing to its full, imitated his action as playing the hero. 16 another, with beautiful, full bosoms, and having her earrings waving in the wind, laughed loudly at him, as if saying, "Catch me, sir, if you can." 17 some, as he was going away, bound him with strings of garlands. Others punished him with words like an elephant driver's hook, gentle yet reproachful. 18 another, wishing to argue with him, seizing a mango spray, asked, all bewildered with passion, "This flower, whose is it?" 19 another, assuming a gait and attitude like that of a man, said to him, "You are conquered. By a woman, go and conquer this earth." 20. Then another with rolling eyes, smelling a blue lotus, thus addressed the prince with words slightly indistinct in her excitement. 21. "See, my lord, this mango covered with its honey-scented flowers, where the bird kokila sings, as if imprisoned in a golden cage." 22. "Come and see this alka tree, which augments lovers' sorrows, where the bees make a noise as if they were scorched by fire." 23. "Come and see this tika tree, embraced by a slender mango branch, like a man in a white garment by a woman decked with yellow unguents." 24. "Behold the kupkai in flower, bright like fresh resin juice, which bends down as if it felt reproached by the color of woman's nails." 25. "Come and see this young alka, covered all over with new shoots, which stands as if it were ashamed at the beauty of our hands." 26. "See this lake surrounded by the sindawara shrubs growing on its banks, like a fair woman reclining, clad in fine white cloth." 27. "See the imperial power of females. Yonder ruddy goose in the water goes behind, his mate following her like a slave." 28. "Come and listen to the notes of the intoxicated cuckoo as he sings, while another cuckoo sings as if consenting wholly without care." 29. "Would that thine was the intoxication of the birds which the spring produces, and not the thought of a thinking man, ever pondering how wise he is." 30. "Thus these young women, their souls carried away by love, assail the prince with all kinds of stratagems." 31. "But although thus attacked, he, having his sense guarded by self-control, neither rejoiced nor smiled." 32. "Having seen them in their real condition, the prince pondered with an undisturbed and steadfast mind." 33. "What is it that these women lack that they perceive not that? Youth is fickle, for old age will destroy whatever beauty has." 34. "This round of blandishment went on for months and years with no results." 11. The Prime Minister's admonition to the prince. 1. Udayan realized that the girls had failed and that the prince had shown no interest in them. 2. Udayan, well skilled in the rules of policy, thought of talking to the prince. 3. Meeting the prince all alone, Udayan said, "Since I was appointed by the king as a fitting friend for thee, therefore I wish to speak to thee in the friendliness of my heart." So began Udayan. 4. To hinder from what is disadvantageous, to urge to do what is advantageous, and not to forsake in misfortune. These are the 3 marks of a friend. 5. If I, after having promised my friendship, were not to heed when thou turnest away from the great end of man, there would be no friendship in me. 6. It is right to woo a woman even by guile. This is useful both for getting rid of shame and for one's own enjoyment. 7. Reverential behavior and compliance with her wishes are what bind a woman's heart. Good qualities truly are a cause of love, and women love respect. 8. Wilt thou not then, O large-eyed prince, even if thy heart is unwilling, seek to please them with a courtesy worthy of this beauty of thine? 9. Courtesy is the balm of women. Courtesy is the best ornament. Beauty without courtesy is like a grove without flowers. 10. But of what use is courtesy by itself? Let it be assisted by the hurts feelings. Surely, when worldly objects so hard to attain are in the grasp, thou wilt not despise them. 11. Knowing that pleasure was the best of objects, even the god Punrai, Indra, wooed in olden times Ahilya, the wife of the saint Gautama. 12. Soju Agriwudruni, the wife of Sawa, and therefore, as Shruti sighed, a light thing befell Lopudra. 13. The great ascetic Bri begot Bharanga, the daughter of the Marup, the wife of Ate. 14. The moon, the best of offers, begat Buddha of divine nature on, the spouse of Brahdi as she was offering a libation. 15. Soju in old times Parasara, overpowered by passion on the banks of the Ina, lay with the maiden Kali who was the daughter of the son of Varuna. 16. The sage visitor through lust begot a son Kangla on Akshamala, a despised Loka's woman. 17. And the seer king Yait, even when the vigor of his prime was gone, sported in the Katatai forest with the Apsara Vyaki. 18. And the Kaurva king Pandu, though he knew that intercourse with his wife would end in death, yet overcome by the beauty and good qualities of Madri, yielded to the pleasures of love. 19. Great heroes such as these pursued even contemptible desires for the sake of pleasure, how much more so when they are praiseworthy of their kind? 20. And yet thou, a young man, possessed of strength and beauty, despisest the enjoyments which rightly belong to thee and to which the whole world is devoted.